My Mug, episode 375 on Monday the 18th of January 2016. I still like saying 2016. I'm your host Stephen Layton. Welcome to My Mug. Welcome to news. Okay, let's get on some news. Good to be home after many weeks of travel. If you haven't seen the last three in My Mugs, go back and watch them. I enjoyed watching them, which is kind of weird because I normally can't bear to watch myself, but I did look like an idiot and it was very funny. But I'm not back for long. I'm actually off to Ethiopia on Saturday to join in the Taste of Harvest competition. I'm going to be one of the international judges. Very, very excited. Cannot wait to go back to Ethiopia. It's been a long time. So yeah, that's going to be lots of fun. I'm going to take this opportunity to ask you a question. What would you like to see us do in 2016? This is your chance to throw every single idea you've ever had at us. I can't say we'll do any of them, but we might do some of them. So please email orders@hasbeen.co.uk. Anything you would like to see us do within My Mug, with coffee, with anything in particular, just throw it all out there. I'm very excited to hear any thoughts that you might have of how we can improve stuff here. And that was the news. The focus on this week is going to be on the coffee varietal called Catuai. So Catuai is a dwarf coffee varietal. What does that mean? It's a very short plant, quite bushy, doesn't grow very high, and it's its most obvious distinguisher. Now, it's good when they're kind of like that because they're much easier to pick, much easier to get at, but also they're more wind resistant. It was designed and selected by the Instituto de Agronómico in the 50s, 60s, which is in Brazil, and it's actually a varietal that's become very, very widely used. Catuai is particularly well known for its high yielding, so it produces lots and lots of coffee, and that's why it's been used in things like Mundo Novo. That's why it's like Mundo Novo is another varietal that's very high yielding, and Yellow Catura. It's a tree that the fruit doesn't easily fall from the branches, partly because of that lowness, but also it seems to have fairly stiff pull to it, so it's good that when the wind comes, it doesn't blow them off. Unfortunately, it is a little susceptible to pest and disease, but only to a kind of moderate level. It's not as bad as like Bourbon or something like that. And that was Focus On. So we should get on to this week's coffee, which is Jocotales Catuai, and it is a farm that's located in one of the most renowned coffee growing regions in the world, Antigua. Antigua used to be the capital city of Guatemala until they decided they were sick of volcanoes blowing up and ruining the city, so they moved it 60 miles down the road to Guatemala City. Owned by a guy called Alexis Ilasas, and he runs it, but it's actually his grandfather's farm, who has worked the farm for over 50 years. And what he's always done in the past was sell cherry to the commodity people, because Antigua fetches a fairly decent price anyway, and that was what they did. The farm is located at 1,400 metres above sea level, in Cuidad, Vieja, which is a region of Antigua. Alex decided that he didn't want to be part of that, and he thought that he'd got really good coffee, so he asked his grandfather if he could have a small part of the crop and try and do some experiments with them. He decided that he was going to do honey. Honey is like a pulp natural, but you leave more of the mucilage on the seed. And he was drying them on the roof of his uncle's house. So all the family had a part in this, and they all thought he was particularly crazy because he had no idea where he was going to sell it or what he was going to do with it at the end. So it was a very small 5-10 bag lot back then. But luckily, we found Alex through a mutual friend who is Raul Rodas, who is the barista champion of Guatemala in 2012, and he's actually he's the world barista champion. And we cooked this coffee with Raul and just absolutely loved it and adored it. He does so much detail into it. I mean, he was there turning it every couple of hours. When he couldn't make it, his uncle was also joining in and helping with that. And when we first saw it, I was just like, this can't be good. I love the story, but it can't be good. But as it turned out, it was absolutely amazing. And now the story has continued where he now has his own mill, and he's actually milling the whole of the family's coffee. And they're delivering the coffee to him, and he's doing all of this honeying, and he's finding new buyers. He's found another buyer from Korea and Taiwan. And we just love working with Alex. He's an absolute dream. Hard work, a little bit crazy, a little bit full on, but this guy's done amazing things. So the details is it is from Guatemala. It's from Antigua. The nearest region, area to it, is Cuidad, Vieja. The farm is called Los Jocotales. It is 1,400 meters above sea level. It's a red Catuai, and it is a honey processed coffee. So we're going to go to the map bit now, but instead of going to the farm, I'm going to show you the mill. So here we are, going up and away, up into the sky. The roof of has been, and up, and we're going across the Atlantic Ocean, and we're going to go across to the Central America region, which we have commented on many times isn't its own continent, it is in North America. But we're interested in focusing down on Guatemala. So if we just zoom down to Guatemala, come on, you can do this. We're going to make this zoom in happen. Nope, not going to happen. Just going to stand here. Here we go. We'll do a fact instead. So Guatemala has over 29 active volcanoes. I know that as when I was in Antigua last. The volcano erupted and made my plane stuck on the ground for 3 days because they can't fly through the volcanic ash, and made me very, very sad. But we're going down here and we're going down to Jocotales. Now, this isn't the farm, as I said, this is the actual mill. So you can see the drying patios there, you can see the warehouse, you can see the actual mill. So the warehouse is to the left and the mill is to the right. Lots and lots of detail there, which is pretty good. And here we've got some photos. So this is inside the warehouse. These are the drying patios here that you can see. This is me and Alex, we're kind of hanging out. I am not a giant man, he's a little smaller. And a little bit of video I took on my iPhone, so you can really get a feel for the area as we swing round. You can see all of the naturals drying there and all of the honeys drying too. And this place was just abandoned and unused. That's a very amazing number plate for me, as I'm a Sunderland fan, and FTM means something quite rude. It is about Newcastle fans. But here you can see the milling going on. This is Raul, who's helping me export, and his friend on the drying patios here. And that was the photographic map bit. So proud of that guy. Dead in that mill, he was disused. He approached the landlord and said, look, can I rent it from you? I can't afford a lot to start off with, but let me build it up and then I'll start paying more rent. And now he's got his own warehousing, he's got his own office in there. He just did such a good job. Alex is a cool guy. Right, we should go and do Roland's daft fact, and he's not a cool guy. In the year 2000, a new varietal called Aroa Verde, a mutation of Catuai, was developed. It yields higher and it's also more pest resistant. Look at Roland doing a real fact. Oh my god, what is the world coming to? It must be his New Year's resolution. Yeah, Aroa Verde is a varietal that has been, it kind of been, I don't know whether it's a mutation or whether it's been spliced together, but it's like the Catuai, but just yields a little bit more stronger, better, more pest resistant, which is very, very good. Okay, gonna wipe you on pause. I'm gonna go and get tasting delicious drinks. I'll be back with you in a second. We are back, straight into the espresso. So the first thing you notice about this coffee is that caramel, real caramel, a milk chocolate. And the company descriptor I've used on the bags and on the site, Cadbury's caramel. It really is. But there's something else. Underneath there's this acidity and it's like it's like somebody's got a red and a green apple and mashed them together. It is so complex. And then it finishes on this like beautiful grape. A delicious coffee. A absolutely delicious coffee. Into the milk. I'm getting used to drinking cappuccinos with facial hair. It's not good. That beautiful chocolate sweetness paired with lovely sweet milk, lovely fresh sweet milk, just works. That's my favourite kind of cappuccino, is when you get sweetness and it's together. Like, too much acidity, it tends to, unbalance it a little bit, and it just tells you how controlled that acidity is, because it really just disappears properly into the background on the cappuccino. Into there. Here, the white grape, for me, runs to the front. You get that beautiful white grape, and you do get the caramel and the chocolate, and the Cadbury's caramel for me is a perfect descriptor for this coffee. I love the fact we're working with Alex on this. We are exclusively buying everything from the farm, from his farm, from the Jocotales one that his grandfather. The other family members, he's starting to sell their coffee too, so he's obviously got a lot more coming through. But he's doing a top job. He really, really is. It's also somebody who 3FE are I own a half of 3FE in Ireland, in Dublin. They also have some lots from this farm as well, and they're massive supporters, and big up Alex as well. So yeah, and I know Alex is on Facebook, and he quite often kind of comments and stuff on this. So hi Alex, if you're watching, I'm hoping to come and see you in February. So right, enough waffling. Thank you very, very much for joining me. It's nice to be back in the studio, although I enjoyed it in the pools very, very much. Next week's will be in the studio as well, but the week after I may do, while I'm in Ethiopia, find somewhere to do that. Thank you for joining me as always, and do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee,